What's up, fellas? It's Mark Parson, Cornerback Pro, former NFL cornerback of the Houston Texans and the New Orleans Saints, and now I'm coaching you guys up. All right, so today we have our second video, our second clip of Richard Sherman back when he was with the Seattle Seahawks. This is when he was in his prime playing days. All right, so we got one-on-ones, and I will tell you this: you have to be good at one-on-ones. You have to be good at man coverage. You have to be good if you want to go to the next level, get a scholarship, get a contract. It's no way around it. Especially where it's going to be more of a pass-happy league. That's the natural evolution of things. So this is extremely important. Make sure you guys email me at cornerbackpro@gmail.com. Ask for the one-on-ones mastery program. Also, we're still doing the Zoom sessions. So that's where I lay out a whole game plan, blueprint, map out what you should be doing. We speak personally and privately to get you to the next level. All right, let's get it. So we'll probably watch maybe 2 reps on this one. So we'll watch it 3 times. I like doing that. 3 is a great number. So understand this, fellas. Break things down. Matter of fact, since we're talking about the number 3, we'll watch it 3 times. Break things down in threes. Break the machine down. See how it works. Break it down. So what does that mean when it comes to coverage? Well, let's talk about it. In coverage, let's talk about man coverage. At the beginning, so let's say we're in press man. The first phase of press man is what? The first phase of coverage is what? It's press man. It's press, right? So which strategy, which technique are you going to use? Well, a lot of you guys don't even have any techniques. You just go up there and line up and say, all right, I'm going to guard this dude. If you're doing that, you're solely relying on athletic ability. And that's not going to work as you get older because there are going to be guys who are more athletic than you. Really, it may not even work against a guy who's not as athletic as you, right? So you got to have techniques, and that's what we teach in the one-on-ones mastery program, right? And this is what you go to the channel. I got tons of free videos explaining a whole bunch of different stuff, right? All right, so what's the next step of your man coverage? It's the squeeze and transition phase. So right here, this phase right here, this is where we squeeze. This is the transition. Now, transition can happen more so like, let's say we're playing off man. We read the 3-step, which would be the first phase if you're playing off man. And then let's say he's beyond a certain point, which we'll talk about, where you need to open up. That's called your transition. And that's when you got to have a nice burst. You got to stay low. And then you got to immediately squeeze. So what happens is a lot of guys don't squeeze. They just run next to each other, run next to the guy, which remember, the whole point of our press man, first of all, is to bow him out, right? So if he starts right here, let's say he starts right here, we need to get him all the way out here. As a receiver, it's not smart to do that. Matter of fact, I was watching Last Chance U 2 nights ago, and it's the one out in Oakland, right? And this receiver, the head coach is literally yelling at the receiver. Because what he was doing, and a lot of high school guys, man, this is good for receivers to know this. A lot of the high school guys, they would just immediately run to the sideline. So let's say somebody was pressing them, and he would just the receiver, I forgot his name, but he would just immediately run to the sideline, and the coach is like, "Yo, stop doing that. You're widening yourself out. You don't want to do that as a receiver." So receivers want to make their move, and they want to get up and hold that line. They want to, if anything, they want to make him miss and then stack. So the worst thing we can do is what? Open the gate, yada yada yada. You guys know that if you've been watching my channel, right? So good job right here. We'll get into it. And then the last phase is at the top of the stem. Ball skills. So which way do you turn, right? But it all comes back down to this, fellas. It all comes back down to the beginning. So if you don't have a good press, it's like a chain effect, right? So 3 phases of man coverage. I don't think you. I'm telling you, this information is some of the best in the world. I promise you. All right. So let's discuss this. So Richard Sherman one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL for many years, one of the best, okay? He has his technique. For the most part, I've only really seen him do maybe one or two techniques, and he just got really good at those one or two techniques. Me, I recommend you guys to have at least 7, which I teach, at least 7, so that you can put it in your tool belt. You can change things up. It's like a pitcher playing baseball, right? He has the more pitches he has, the better, right? Especially when you're going against these guys, because you go against these guys every day, right? So they're gonna start to feel like, okay, I know what he's gonna do. But I would say half of you guys don't even have any techniques. That's the scary part. So if you don't have any techniques when you're press man and your coverage, you don't have anything, you're screwed. Now, let's say the other guys who've been playing, most of them only have maybe one technique or two that their coach taught them, right? All right, so what's the technique that Richard uses? He uses outside kick step, okay? You'll be able to see it again. So let's look at the other angle. Watch this right here. Watch this foot. See that? So what is the purpose of that outside kick step? Because he's not going forward, he's not going back. You have to have a plan with your feet, because if your feet just stay still, it's going to be like blocks into the ground. So it's just a mental thing. I got to get my feet moving somehow. So no matter what technique we use, remember we have multiple techniques, right? It's in the 101 Mastery Program. No matter what, we're going to have, our feet is going to be moving somehow, whether it's a kick step, whether it's a soft shoe, which you're inching back, whether it's a strike and get back to balance, whether it's this, whether it's that, no matter what, your feet are going to have some type of movement, okay? So the one that I noticed that Richard Sherman used to, do a lot was kick step, okay? Now, let's look at the squeeze. This is how you guys should be breaking your own film down. I mean, imagine if a wide receiver look, and I say this so many times, wide receivers, go into the DB room and just listen to the coach talk to the DBs. DBs, go into the wide receiver coach, wide receiver room, just listen to how he's talking to the receivers, all right? You'll learn different things to beat your enemy, man. All right, so that's the technique. Good job. Outside kick step. Now look where he starts. Let's see where he finishes. Oops, go back. So outside kick step. Stay square for at least one shuffle. Good job for the most part. I think he started, where did he start? So he started right there. Stay square. Good press, man. Good press. All right. Here's what I'd say we can improve on, right? Our squeezing. So Richard he does a great job when it's first phase of his coverage, okay? So good press man. Now right here. Now understand this, and I know why guys do it. Because Richard is probably like a 4 or 5 guy. So he's not a blazer. And think about that, guys. Now look, if you want to get to the next level, do what you got to do to run a faster 40. Like whatever your maximum speed is, please get to that, because that makes life a whole lot easier. And there's different things you can do. Some guys are just naturally just super fast, right? Like Deion Sanders, when he was in his prime, he just fall out of bed and can run a 4.3 40, right? I know guys like that. I remember Bryce McCain when Houston. I mean, he ran a 4.1 at his pro day. He just was fast. But the rest of us, there's certain things we got to do to improve our speed, which can happen. So do that. But understand this. Richard Sherman is not a blazer. He's not a super fast guy, right? So what happens is on our second phase of our coverage, and this is why I can teach this, because I wasn't a blazer either, so I know what we do. We use angles. He's a Stanford guy. We just naturally, you're a smart football player, right? So what we do a lot of times, and this is why receivers, you don't want to get into the habit of coming all the way out here, because we're just going to use a cutoff angle. So you see this? The reason why Richard doesn't squeeze him that much is because Richard knows he's a 4 or 5 guy. So sometimes he feels more comfortable taking this angle, like going straight right here, especially if he does a good job on his press. And I'm not going to say cut off, but like to stay on top. You see what I'm saying? But what we need to do, we really need to not take that angle and we need to squeeze this receiver, okay? So what do you mean by squeeze, coach? So the second phase in our coverage, I need to widen him even more. I need to run him out of bounds. And there's certain drills that we do. If you ever come to Richmond, Virginia and train with me, we work on that, right? So when we squeeze these guys over, so great job with the press. Second phase, we need to squeeze him over. We just run him. Now, does that mean you're reaching out for him and stuff? No, because that's going to slow you down if you're reaching out. If you're reaching out, fellas, question. If you're running like with your arms, and we talk about arm swing, don't you think you run faster when you're swinging your arms, you're cycling your arms? But what if the receiver's cycling his arms and you're reaching out for him with your arm? It's going to slow you down. It may even throw you off balance. So just understand that it's a drill that we do where you literally run him out of bounds, but you're cycling your arms. So you have to run, but you have to squeeze him out of bounds. All right. So run him out of bounds. So right here, if Richard keeps on being a pest and keeps like basically run him out, he'll be closer when it comes to the top of his stem. All right, so we'll go over that. I may even show you guys some drills when I'm with my guys and I'm teaching my guys in person. All right, so that's the second phase. That would have helped them out a lot. Now let's talk about the last phase, and this is kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I only got like 4 more minutes. So check this out. In your mind, the more one-on-ones, this is why I say you guys need to get 10,000 reps. The more one-on-ones that you do, it'll naturally have in your mind, you'll eliminate different routes. So this is a habit that works in Richard Sherman's favor. This is how you know I studied this guy for a while. This habit works in his favor sometimes, and it works against him. Okay. So what I noticed is Richard turns into the receiver really early. Matter of fact, he went to Stanford, I think, as a receiver. So what do I mean by turning into a receiver really early? A lot of the times he will turn away. So let's talk about ball skills when it comes to this. It's not just about catching the ball or high pointing the ball, which is a huge key. But he likes to turn away from, so right here. So look, naturally, and you'll see it in other clips. Richard Sherman, we have a lot of real estate over here, right? Well, Richard Sherman, he likes to turn away immediately, like way too early, to look at the quarterback right here. So what I mean by that is turning, you can turn to the receiver. Let's say the ball's in the air. There's certain times where you can turn to the receiver and look through the receiver for the ball, which I recommend right here. Or you can run with the receiver. Let's say the receiver goes deep, right? And then you look this way. You turn away from the receiver and you become the receiver. You become the receiver. Does that make sense? So right here is too much real estate. So since we didn't squeeze very well, we need to turn to the receiver. If they got a lot of real estate over here, a lot of land, a lot of space, you need to turn to the receiver. Another thing, look, fellas, if he's at 10 yards, what routes are they breaking? Let's see how many yards he breaks. Did he get to 14? Good press. He didn't even really get to 14 on that comeback. But you got to have that in your mind. It has to be like second nature. Like, you know what? After 14, then I can look back. Or where we are on the field. It's like awareness, which Richard Sherman is usually really good at. But he gets a lot of his interceptions this way, too. I've seen that in the game. Where he looks away from the receiver and he just becomes a receiver. So you have to have that it's like an internal awareness of where you are on the field. So great press, squeeze more. Then right here, you got to turn to the receiver. You got to have your eyes on the receiver. One bad habit that Richard Sherman that I noticed, and I saw this I actually made a couple of videos in the game where he does this. He turns around really quickly. Like he likes to look back this way. But we have too much space over here. I've actually seen him get an interception doing this. Okay. But I also seen a lot of back shoulder fades. He gets got on those and some comebacks. I noticed that. So I say all that to say this: Richard Sherman is cold. He's nice, especially in his prime. Even with that being said, when you know how to break down your film, we always can get better. Okay, and that's my goal for everybody who watches this channel. So that actually was just one rep. So make sure you guys, I'm going to make some more Richard Sherman reps. Make sure you guys email me at cornerbackpro@gmail.com. Ask for the one-on-ones mastery program so you can get nice at the press, learn certain drills for the squeeze, the second phase, and then when and how to look back for the ball All right, peace. Stay tuned for the next video.